Thank you for staying with us for a while now. Some journalists who have been bold enough to do investigative journalism have been allegedly been threatened or asked, they've actually been allegedly arrested and put behind bars. Now we ask, what is the future of journalism in Nigeria if this continues to happen? We've had people like Agba Jalingo, people like Jones Abiri, recently they've been arrested. Now, Fisayo recently was went undercover, according to him, and to bring out some exposed happenings behind in prisons, Nigerian prisons. Then he alleged that they were seeking to arrest him. The police were seeking to arrest him, although the police had actually refuted this yesterday, saying that they're not doing anything of the sort because journalists are supposed to be their partners in this. We understand that. However, it's important to also discuss the fact that lots of journalists in recent times have been arrested for one thing or the other. And if this trend continues, it begins to make it come across as though the government does not want to uphold the constitutional.
It already comes across like this government in the past 4 years has shown a body language of zero tolerance for criticism. That's been the body language of the government. So they came in with the hype from social media, and suddenly they feel like the social media is now being used to lead to supporting terrorism. They are causing that there's hate speech online. This is the same social media that you used to get into power. So this is a democracy. Let me start from there. And in a democracy, the journalists, the body of the media, everywhere, social media, those that are working online or proper broadcasters are contributory to holding the government accountable. When you shush the media, you shush the only platform for people to express themselves. And we are as well as good as having a military system. So what we have now is a case where, let's say, okay, Shoyombo's case was alleged allegation. The one for Agba Jalingo, someone who I respect so much for always speaking the truth and protesting against bad governance, is being arrested for conspiracy to cause unrest and conduct likely to cause breach of peace because he made a report that there's a 500 million scam in Cross River. So now he's being arrested.
Every right is limited. Every right under the Constitution is qualified in one way or the other. So the right to press freedom as well must be qualified. What I expect government to do, and they do that already, because we as Satellite Town got invited by the DSS, so we are being investigated for protesting what they do in our area. So I know that when a person makes this kind of reports, Agba Jalingo made, the one Fisayo Shoyombo made, if you must have anything to say against it, you investigate it further to see if it's a lie. Fortunately, these guys have, for Fisayo Shoyombo, for instance, I still read through again yesterday. There's a video. And, they were able to show faces of people. I expect that, government should not be saying, we are investigating. Immediately, we should be having their side of the story. Because this is just break. So when government comes out and says, oh, we've investigated and it's unsubstantiated, then we know the journalist in question whose name is on it is in trouble because, of course, that right to press freedom is qualified.
Okay, I'm a journalist, right?
So you shouldn't talk over your head.
Sorry. I've had cause to be questioned by DSS. I've spent time with the police in the time of when I was editing Next, which was sort of the leading investigative newspaper and everything. So the public right to know is sacrosanct. It is central to a democracy. Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution guarantees the press's right to inform and to hold government accountable. So let's be clear about that. There's no room for debating that the journalists have a responsibility that is constitutional and they should be allowed to carry out their duty, without any sort of intimidation. But she's also right in saying that those rights are qualified. And we as journalists have a responsibility to raise the standards of the work that we do. And in fact, there are conversations that are taking place within the industry at the moment. We're trying to see if we can self-regulate. And what self-regulation does is that it allows us to set standards and to use global best practice so that if you are going to report something, you're sure that you've investigated it and you're not making it up. Because there are rules already around libel, around defamation, that are also constitutional, that allow people to go after you for redress. So the issue of fake news and the impact it has is real. And I think this is one of those things where we have to make sure that we earn the trust of people. So, I mean, how many people actually read things now and believe it? You know, because we've had so many bad things happening. So it's a two-way thing. The government cannot be arresting, but we too have to be able to earn the respect and trust of people by doing our job properly. So I just wanted to say, part of what we need to do is we need to organize and improve the way we do our job. Because if we do, what happens is we set ourselves apart from the bloggers, from the citizen journalists, and we become the trusted source that people go to. And that organization also means that whether you work for a big paper like The Guardian, or whether you are running a small paper in a village that is regional, you get the same level of protection. So things like, I mean, during the break, she was talking about things like insurance. In most places, if you send journalists out, when I was at the BBC, every trip I took, I was guaranteed certain things, including insurance. So if anything happens to me, I knew that I'll be okay and the family will be okay and all of that. We don't do that. So our publishers do not put the money that they make from journalism back into the profession. It's very bad. And our journalists are forced to make a living basically getting money from people that they cover. And it's not going to work, you know.
So I was going to go to the part of the fact that where the law enforcement officer was saying that we're supposed to be partners, that they trust that we're supposed to be on their own side, where for us to have that cohesion in ensuring the protection of lives and property, that we must, as journalists, work with the police. Now, unfortunately...
Not if they're the ones committing the crimes.
Exactly. And we've heard that many times before, Morayo. They guilt trip us. We had a meeting one time like that, and somebody was saying that when we say the things we say on this platform is aggravating people, we are making tension high, and we're causing strife in the hearts of people. I said, is what we're saying true or false?
That's the first
focus should be on if what is being said is true or false. If the allegations, if the investigation by Fisayo is true, don't focus on whether the journalist is supposed to support you. Focus on cleaning the debts within your system.
Okay.